And Nazi came in with a leather jacket, with boots, I think. And he asked my mother where my father was. She said, he's not home. So they started looking.
Where's the
And
dog?
they found him sitting in the cabinet. So he came out and he gave my mother a slap. She had a swollen cheek for about a week, if not more.
He
And then
knocked
they took
her
him.
teeth out.
No, he didn't. Then
Yes, he did, she told
I
me.
don't remember knocking the teeth out. Anyway, they took him to the police station. And we walked, the police station was also not far from where we lived. And they were marching him in. We were standing outside. I was a kid, I was home with my mother. And I saw people coming from the police station, going out across the street.
You'll never know why they
And
let
these
him
people that
go.
were going across the street were probably sent to a concentration camp. And for somehow or other, they let my father go because he was a Polish national. Can't
He was
figure
what?
that. Can't figure that out.
Yeah,
And then we came home.
they
And
did let them go.
Yeah, they let him
You
go.
know, all the Hasidic rabbis, they're Turkish citizens. Because when they started out, the southern Russia and Ukraine,
Go into the room.
they ruled by the Turks.
You can sit down
They
on the
never
stove. I just want to
changed
put
their
some of this
citizens.
food away.
Let's come in.
So when Hitler came, they could leave. And the Turkish government was very nice.
How's the back?
Oh, this is better?
So those are the kind of things that I do remember. I was a very vivid recollection of that. I also remember when Shushnik, the night that he spoke
Karen, you know,
spoke to
you
the
can sit on the sofa in the
Austrians,
chair.
I want to take a picture
because
of
they had
Yeah.
a
This generation. Move them over here.
plebiscite.
Special, you have to come into my house, you have to
And
see it.
apparently he couldn't resist the Nazi
Lovely.
offer. So
Excuse me,
his
can
last,
I want to get a picture
his
of
last
the
words
board.
were, "Vos weiß rot bis in Tod." I remember that very vividly.
Wait, can you translate for those of us who,
What do you want?
Take a picture of the four of you.
All right.
Are you going to stand or sit? What are you
Maybe you
going
want
to
to
do?
turn on more lights.
How will this look good?
I think all the lights are on.
No, the lights aren't on, over there.
Is that all right? Is that all right?
That probably makes it worse.
Okay.
No, it's fine. It may make it worse. We'll see. I may have to take.
All right. So everybody say cheese. Raskus cheese.
All right.
Gina.
Okay. 1, 2, 3.
Karen, Karen?
No, no, this is that, your generation.
Oh, the old one.
Wait a minute. What's going on here? 1, 2, 3.
Cheese.
Okay.
Let's see what it looks like.
I think Uncle Norbert looked down.
I looked down.
Yeah, you did. We got to take it over.
I'll
Why
look
don't you get a little closer? Maybe Ruth, you want to, yeah.
That's okay.
Yeah. You want to move your chair closer to Norwood? Yeah, it'll make a better picture if you're all together.
All right.
You can turn on the light behind you also if you want. The one of,
All together.
1, 2, 3.
All right.
Is it all right?
What do you think? It's reasonable. What do you think, Mark?
Well, before I move back to
Looks
my
pretty good.
kitchen.
Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah,
it's
we
fine.
passed.
Okay.
Pass the mark.
Passed the test.
Good.
I hope you send us the pictures.
We'll send you a picture.
do you check your email, Grandma?
Yeah, she really checks her email.
You know,
Well, you don't have time to teach.
oh, come on. Hadassah said.
Does she have a computer?
Well, there's a computer in
He
the
has
other
access
room.
to the
Oh, my,
computer.
my
she has.
grandchildren
You
have all
don't
used
use
that
email?
computer.
He
I'll
couldn't
use
use
email.
it.
It was too
I
sophisticated for
didn't want
him.
to start with that. I'm not familiar with that.
Whose email do you, what do
If
you
it's
use?
not his, he just
I have
found it.
a Dell.
Huh?
I have a Dell.
I mean, what email?
I use mine, Norb5165
At?
at AOL.com.
Ah, okay.
Huh? I'm
Norb
finally getting one.
5165.
5165.
You're gonna start using email
You know how
too?
I got
Kevin,
that?
you gonna
No,
teach
I
me?
use Nissan with
Yeah,
the
I
Spark
could.
attack. Nissan 50
to work at
and is
it.
5. Yurt is 10, so I use 1. Summit is 6 days, so I use 6. And again the noon. I remember that.
That's why you can't forget. You can remember all that, but
I never get it.
There you can sit down if you want, it's more.
It's okay. I'll never get
There.
it.
Happened on the 9th of November, when the Germans wrecked all the synagogues in Vienna and arrested Jews and broke all the stores' windows. It's known as Kristallnacht, the night of the broken glass.
Yeah.
It was in the morning of the night of the 10th of November, which was on a Thursday that day, that I went naturally to the school.
That you what?
I walked to the school where I was a student, which was in the Malzgasse, which is a Jewish school. And as I approached the building, I saw that the building was going up in smoke because they had set the building on fire. I went home, and the same morning, a Gestapo or somebody, a policeman, I don't remember who, I remember he had a leather jacket and leather boots, comes into the apartment where we lived, and they asked for my father, they were going to arrest him. My mother said that he wasn't home. So they started searching in the apartment, and they found him sitting in what we know as the cabinet, which is a small room on the side. So as soon as they saw him, they arrested him, and on the way out, he took his hand and he slapped my mother.
The Nazi.
The Nazi, yes.
Okay, now I understand. Okay.
Because apparently he accused her of not telling him the truth, and her face was swollen for about a week, if not more. And as they arrested my father, took him to the police station, which wasn't far from us, we followed along on foot, and we saw what was happening there. They were arresting people, bringing them into the police station, and once they interrogated them or whatever they did, they sent them across the street. There was a stream of people going across the street, and I assumed that these people were later sent to concentration camps. My father, for whatever reason, he was a Polish national, so they let him go. So we went home, and that's as far as I remember of that particular day.
Who else was there besides you and your mother? Was anyone else with you?
Nobody else was with
It
us.
was just the two of you.
Just the two of us, yes.
Was my grandmother already... She had already been sent?
My mother?
No, my grandmother.
Oh, she already left. She left in May, I think, or June.
Right.
And this happened in November of '38.
So, let me tell you what happened. The same day,
Yeah.
in the morning, an uncle of mine, we went to the house of Shapiro to the morning prayers. And suddenly a man comes in, says, people run, they're grabbing people all over the city. My grandfather lived about 3 blocks away, so we went over there, and the interesting was, they only took people, men, from the age of 15 to the age of 60 or 70.
Okay.
They didn't take the below one,
The
nothing.
younger ones.
So we went down in the basement apartment building, and he hit us. Now, my grandmother, who had passed away, had a neighbor, a non-Jewish neighbor, and they were very good friends. They would go shopping together, they would have a cup of coffee together, and they came in and they asked my grandfather, is anybody here? He says, no. She came running out of her, 50 years my grandmother's friend. She came running out of her apartment, don't listen to the old man. His son-in-law and his grandson are hiding in the basement. This
Awful.
is neighbors. Awful. So they found us here, we got kicked a couple of times, and they took us to the nearest high school, to the gym. And there were about, see, all the schools were closed. There were about 300 people at least, 300 men. My uncle was a veteran of World War I. He says, let's work our way to the back. So we have our back to the wall, and whatever they offer, never volunteer. So we stood there, and suddenly a very distinguished man stepped forward. There were only 6 of them and 300 of us. A very distinguished man stepped forward, and he says, I want to protest. I'm General so-and-so. I fought for Kaiser and fatherland, for my country. And that's not the way I should be treated. And the guy from the leader says, Your Excellency, will you step over here? Then another guy stepped forward and he says, I'm a retired Superior Court judge.
I'm gonna,
Are you treating the, and I always believed in justice.
have enough time.
Is this what it is? And they said, Your Honor, would you step over there? And when they stepped over there, took a gun and blew out their brains. And let me tell you,
Hopefully in a work situation.
it's amazing how much, and they were laying there for 4 hours.
And you saw,
And it's amazing how much blood there is in a human being.
Wanted to be retired.
Now, we come back a while.
Turned into one of those people.
We had a neighbor upstairs from us. They were anti-Semites and all along. And we didn't have good relations. See, in Vienna, all apartment buildings were closed at 10 o'clock in the evening. And like kids here, the big thing is get the key to the car. With us, it was get the key to the building. And at 9:45, you could see hundreds and thousands of youngsters running to beat the deadline. So I missed the deadline, and I'm standing there waiting, and he comes with his wife.
these were laws because of Jews, or these were just regular city laws that they didn't want
City
people
laws,
out?
everybody.
Everybody.
Yeah. So they came, and I was polite. I said, Good evening, Mr. Herman and Mrs. Herman. I said, I want to go in. And he said to me, if you don't have a key, I don't have to let you in. I says, if you're not nice enough to let me in, I go in anyway. Well, I was 18, 19 years old. So I walked in. So we had bad feeling. Suddenly we're in that hole in the gym, and out comes this guy with, he's a colonel, and was called Leibstandarte Adolf Hitler. That's the elite troops of Hitler. And he had a little stick like the British.
The SS? I mean,
SS, yeah. And he had a little stick like the British have a swagger stick officers. And he points there, he said, get me that Jew, me. I said to my uncle, say bye to my mother, to my Zayda, to my brother, I'm finished. And they take me, he and 2 guys take me to the principal's office, and he called me every name under the sun. And then he said to the guys, you go back, I handled this Jew. And he sat down and started writing. I'm standing there, giving him a piece of paper. He says, get out the back door and go home. And the piece of paper said, by order of Obersturmführer Hermann, the Jew Sigmund Halpern is released. And on the way home, I was stopped 3 times, and I had the paper. So I came home, my brother was hiding. So my mother and I said, when it got dark, we're going to go up there. We had a textile business, and they took it over. We had taken some material there. I said to my mother, let's take up some stuff and show our appreciation. So we go up there, and they're sitting. And my mother expresses her thanks and everything else. And they nod their heads. Then I say, Mr.
who is she thanking?
What?
Who is she thanking?
She wants to get out alive from there. And she don't want no relationship because they're killing people. So I turned to him, I said, Mr. Herman, why did you let me go? My mother gave me a dirty look like you wouldn't believe. Don't talk, let's get out of here. He said, my wife and we have just discussed you over the years. He says, we always felt proud of you. He killed the guy who was brain out, and he was telling me he's proud of me. He said, you see, both my wife and I have a reason, separate reason, why we like you. So the wife said to my mother, she says, I always talk to your maids. In Vienna, everybody had a maid on the place. And unfortunately, the man of the house and the sons, there was a lot of mistreating the maids. She says, I talked to all the maids that you had, and all of them said that your father and you acted like two gentlemen. Okay? And then he says, now let me tell you why I. He says, every year on the holiest of the holy day, Yom Kippur, we saw you walking by with your grandfather with the black beard and the black hat, and one of you carried his prayer bag, the tallis, the other one carried Matthew had Sworim. He says, and we talked about it. These are Jews, they live in Vienna, but they're very proud of their religion. And that's why he let me go. So then he said to my mother, get them out of Europe. I said, you got passport? Yeah. He says, get them out of Europe. Terrible things are going to happen to these Jews. He knew already about the final solution.
Was he in the gym doing the shooting? He was one of the people?
What his people were doing. But
He wasn't there himself?
No, he was the head. And he saw him laying there and out of his head. Well done.
But he was standing in the gym while they were doing the shooting.
Who, he?
This Herman,
No, he was in the office.
he was in the office.
But he gave the order.
He gave the orders.
So anyway, and
So he was giving orders to kill Jews, but he was getting you out of
he
Europe
wanted me. He was
because he
going-
liked you.
Yeah, because and I thought, if he kills those, what is he going to do to me?
Right.
I'm finished.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially because he thought that he was an anti-Semite. to
Yeah,
begin with.
right.
Right. And he wouldn't let you in at night.
Yeah. So anyway, 2 days later, my mother and us left for the German-Belgian border, and we made it to Belgium.
This St. Louis, things fly.
But,
It's amazing.
Terrible things
A lot of
happened.
insects where I come from.
And the one time they came
Where
before,
was Helene while this was going on to you?
she was with her folks, we were not
This
married.
way's easy,
Right.
it's harder
But were they in Vienna or were they?
No, they were gone.
They had already
At
left.
that time, they had gone to Paris.
There hasn't been a lot since.
But you had been writing letters?
Yeah, from Vienna and from Antwerp.
I also wanted to tell you that
Yeah.
the same day that Kristallnacht took place, I received notification from the American consulate that I was to come to pick up my
I think
visa.
since Europe.
So it's rather ironic that on the same day when we suffered so much,
You got your
I
visa.
got my visa
When he
to
got
come
sick,
to America.
when he got sick since Europe.
But I want to tell you,
Described to Hashgacha Pratit.
but I want to tell you, the Belgians,
It was in the hospital.
there was a border area of 100 miles. If they caught any refugees, took them back to the border. If you got through that, and you made it to Antwerp. So what happened was, my mother, we stayed in a hotel where you got the smugglers. Twice they caught us and took us back. And once the Belgians and once the German. And I had the distinct honor crossing on a railroad tracks on my belly to have the Belgians and the Germans shooting at me. So then there became an opening. The South African ambassador in Berlin had a big limousine. You know, the 3 seats and then these folding seats, and it could hold 7 people.
Medical profession doesn't.
And the number 2 man had to go to Belgium, and he made money on the side, so he took 7 Jews. But this was a terrible decision to make. There was only 1 seat left, and me and my brother. So I said, he's the younger one, let him go. So he very elegantly drove all the way to Antwerp, nothing. So I had to try another way. You never went over there without by yourself. You went two because you hoped if one gets killed, the other one would say where you are. So we found out this guy, this smuggler, there was in this town, Aachen, on the Belgian side, they had the saint, Saint Cecilia, the saint of the musicians. And there was pilgrimage over there. And we walked in the line in front of the priest with the holy water, and we went like this. And we made it to the town. And we went into the church. I have to tell you, I ate a wafer. What can I do? So across the street was a pub. And there we met a young woman that got on the bus with us to take her to Leech, where we had the tickets for Antwerp. So we're on the bus, and suddenly a man gets home, and this girl turns white. She says, we're in big trouble. This is a German secret agent. You see, and the bus was going to a crossing, and there was a little hut there. And it says, get off here and you're on your own. So the snow was that high. So we got off on that station, and the bushes, and I took my coat off and wiped out the footprints. And suddenly, from both sides, motorcycle, border police came. And they waited there, and nobody was there. They left. And I never run that fast. The snow was that high, a bus came. And I ran, the bus was going, and I knocked on the door. This guy was a mensch. The fellow that I went with was 35 years old, but he was a schlemiel. So he goes, can we go on? He says, go on, go to the back. This guy was a Belgian that saved our lives. Then we got to Leech, and then we had the tickets on the train, so we sat down, we were ahead. All I carried with me was my razor, my toothbrush, and my twill. That's the only baggage I had. So we got on the train, and I put my ticket there, made like I was asleep. Now we come to Antwerp. We're not safe till the next day. Now this guy came in, and he says, there was a red light district. He says, let's go one of the houses. So we go in there, and the madam asked, yes. I says, we want to sleep, can you give us a room? So she gave us a room, we stayed there, and the next day we went and got our paper.
Who was the man with you?
He was a Jewish guy from Vienna that also tried to make it, but he was kind of a Kunilemo, you know.
What did you pay with?
He was scared to death of his shoulder.
What currency did you pay with?
What?
When you paid them off, what currency did you have?
Who?
Where you slept that night with the...
In Antwerp.
We each had, they let us have 4 German marks each. And we had the tickets from the smuggler. So we gave our money. And Belgians were very nice. And Mary and Louis got on some crazy deal. They made it to Antwerp by train. They got papers. So there I stayed in Antwerp till March 1940. And then I met a wonderful Jewish family that took me in. I was giving lessons, and my brother was there, and I gambled. Like I said, the currency. The German finance minister, Halpern, the great genius, was going to give a speech. And I got money because the guy from Switzerland sent me money, but I took $100, which is a lot of money, and I bet against the German mark. And he came and made a speech called Guns or Butter. What can the German people expect? And he says, guns. Automatically, economically, it went down. And I made $1,500.
Wow.
And I paid for my brother's airline train ticket from Antwerp to Paris, and from Paris,
Lots of stories.
in Paris he
Why
met
didn't you ever tell
Max,
us?
spent a couple of days with him.
No.
Then
And
from
you know,
Paris
my
to
mother-
Marseille,
my mother and
from
father
Marseille
stayed
on
with
the
my
boat.
aunt and uncle
And I had,
on
I don't know, I had left,
And I
so I
never
bought
knew
him
that
a
until my
trunk,
father died.
and then I had, I don't
They
know,
came together.
another few that
How
said,
did
take
they
it.
find out?
The whole big deal went there. And he made it, and
Yeah,
went to Israel, and went to the Techno.
Well, how did you travel without papers in
Who?
Belgium? You or your brother?
He got a card.
He didn't know my
First
mother,
of all,
but
he had a German
a list
passport.
of all the,
He had him been
of all
to.
the,
Second of all,
all
we
the
went the next
the
day,
passengers.
and they gave
Here was
you
my uncle and my
a
aunt's
refugee
name and my mother's
permit
and my
to
father's.
stay.
Oh, they did?
You're not supposed to work. Well,
And you had to pay for
Told me
that?
he was 16 years old
yeah,
when
but
he
in
came
the
to
meantime,
the
my brother
United
had,
States.
when he got the
And he
money
was in
from
the Amsterdam, and he
Switzerland.
told me the name of the boat,
But,
and he gave me
but
the
I'll tell you
passenger list.
how it
And
pays.
that's
I got
when
so many
found out
stories.
My mother
Yeah.
and father were on the same boat. And I used to tell my mother, why didn't you tell me?
Right.
Because when I
Can I tell you
came to
another
Yeah.
New
story?
York,
Yeah.
my
So I
mother
lived in
and father,
Antwerp,
my
and
uncle
this
drove
Jewish
me.
family took me. First,
My aunt
I
and
was
uncle
giving
didn't get
lessons.
off the boat
Then
because
this
they said they
family
didn't have
took
the
me in.
correct papers or
He was
whatever,
big diamond
and they
pro.
send them back to
They only had
Allentown.
one daughter, beautiful
And my
blonde.
mother and father
And all my
didn't send
friends
back
there
to
would say I would marry the boss's daughter and live happily ever after. But I had a girl in St. Louis Mo. So to show you, the biggest diamond men, they're the diamond cops. And when you made a deal, even the Gentiles would say Muslim bracha to close the deal. One Saturday, the boss said to me,
But
you
that's
have to
very
go see
interesting. Then
Finkelstein.
I didn't see Susie
Finkelstein
for
was a
long
guy
time,
with a
but then
beard
I
like
used to go
this,
to New York.
the biggest diamond man in
New
Europe.
York was network.
I said to him, I says, Veneer,
World's Fair.
he won't see you for all the tea in China. Today's Shabbos.
Or stayed with
Says,
my aunt.
when can he see me? I says, maybe after, when it's dark.
The World's Fair.
So we went to the house after it was dark, and there was
Yeah, I went to
me, Frau Finkelstein, with a shaitel. And I said to her in Yiddish, wie ist your man? Where's your husband? He's in Bismedrish, Leon. So we went to the Bismedrish. And my boss, he was Jewish, he wouldn't go in, he sat in the lobby. I go in there, there's Finkelstein studying.
Yeah.
And I went up to him and I said, I spoke pretty good Dutch, but with him I spoke Yiddish.
How do you know Dutch?
I lived there for a year, Flemish.
Huh.
So I says, Meneer Goudfish wants to see you. He says, zoek them goy, he can wait till tomorrow. So I was desperate. So I look over his shoulder, he was studying, but we would see him, I don't know what. I says, you're studying this? He says, how you know? I says, I know how. He says, I'll make you a deal. If you study with me for 15 minutes, and I'm satisfied, I talk to him. So I sat down and studied with him, and then he came out with me.
Do you remember what it was?
What? It was one of them.
Snijbox and Batalis.
So now off the town, same as So anyway, so we walked out, and he said to my boss, he says, Goudfish,
I did take care of the twins while
for
they
all
were
the tea
sleeping.
in
but,
China,
I
I
was just
wouldn't come and
babysitting.
talk to you. But this
But
young
Isaac had
man
with me.
gave me pleasure. And they made the deal. He needed the lot.
Isaac, he's a good
And my
kid.
boss gave me a nice bonus. This is the way you live.
How old is he?
He's 4.5. Yeah, it's hard to believe
But
the twins are going to be 3.
The
Yeah.
Jews in Belgium were Dutch Jews. In 1921, they decided to move the whole diamond trade from Amsterdam to Antwerp.
There's some wealthy
But
Jews there.
the Jews in Antwerp had a condition.
Diamonds.
The condition was all the street signs in the 6 blocks where they had the 2 diamond shops, they had the street names in French and in Flemish. Put it in Yiddish. And if you went there, they had it. Let's say you call it Broadway in
Yiddish.
Yiddish.
That's very funny.
But today, we went back one time, I think in the 60s.
To Antwerp or
to Antwerp. And I tell you, It's completely controlled by the Lubavitcher, and there's one shul next to the other, and they don't have shuls. You see a first floor apartment, you walk by and they stand there in the dam.
There's places I wanna go.
Were there were there base medrashes in Vienna also, like the one that you
Yes.
talked about?
Oh yeah, they had big ones, yeah. Very, very big.
Is it big ones, or there were a lot of little ones?
A lot
Or?
of little
Where did our father-in-law daven in Vienna?
At the Hoshatana Rebbe.
No, something was in the Cheningasse,
I don't
like
remember.
a stiebel.
Yeah. No, I don't know.
Was it
But,
the Belzer close?
But I'll tell you what happened.
Was it the Belzer close?
Maybe it could be. I tell you, my father died when I was a freshman, when I was in high school, final year, and then a freshman in
What
college.
did he die of?
Pneumonia. Today you get a penicillin shot. He was 44-year-old, and so university started at 8 o'clock. And there was no way I could go to a minyan. At the
Right.
minyan to be there. I found there was a little shul, they called it a Schneiderische Shul. All the guys there were Balgolas and tailors. They got up early, and their minyan was at 6 o'clock. So my brother and me went to the minyan every day.
Wow.
Came Shabbos, we went to shul. But then we found out the Trotkiver Rebbe,
This is for the shiva or the whole
for the no, this was
for the whole year?
for the whole year.
Wow.
So the Trotkiver Rebbe had a minyan at 9 o'clock on Sunday.
Yeah, but the Trotkiver Rebbe was in the Heinestrasse.
And here in the Heinestrasse.
Heinestrasse.
So we went up there and they looked at us. And every Sunday we were coming. After 4 weeks, the Gabbai was his minister, said who came to us, the Rebbe wants to see you. So we go there, he said, who are you? We said, we went to the school and this, and we sang Kaddish after our father. And all week long we have to be there at 6 o'clock. If you don't mind, we come and daven. He says, everybody can daven. So who is your family? And I said to him, my family, maybe you know my grandfather, Chaim Halpern, or a Goy Salam. That's it.
Oh, what?
A big lamb.
Somebody
Okay.
who can learn very well.
Yeah. So we went there every week. We went to the Chotkover, so we could sleep till 8:30.
Because there was no university.
What?
That was the day you didn't have university.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, my father used to go to the Trotkiver Rebbe if he had a question, if he had any kind of complaints about business. The Trotkiver Rebbe, whatever he said.
Yeah, the Rebbes made their money, big money,